Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Legally Speaking with Kochhar Company, presented by Kochhar Mumbai. Today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic, technology and legal profession. We are not going to talk about ChatGPT, Co-Counsel, Copilot, or any of the AI tools that all of us have been talking about, hearing about. Today, we would like to talk about how technology in general, AI in particular maybe, is impacting legal profession. A profession that is, in a sense, steeped in history, legacy, practices. Somebody would say that it is notorious when it comes to changes. It resists change. But is it really so? Have we adapted? Are we ready? So these are some of the very topical issues that we would like to cover today. And to talk with us, we have very important guests today. Uh, my first guest today is Naveen Raju. Naveen is the General Counsel and Executive Vice President at Mahindra and Mahindra and a member of the Group Executive Board. In his role as the GC of Mahindra, he leads the in-house legal team and provides assurance on legal and regulatory compliance across the group's business and operations. Naveen has over 2 decades of experience leading Indian companies and conglomerates. Prior to Mahindra, Naveen had worked with Crompton Greaves, ACC, and Reliance Industries. He had spent over 10 years at Mahindra and has been instrumental in creating core internal competencies, integrating the legal function with group business, and promoting greater adoption of technology. So, Naveen, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you.
We also have our corporate partner, Sameena Jahangir, with us today. Sameena is representing the law firm side of the discussion. Sameena is a corporate lawyer. She's also a qualified company secretary. She looks after complex structuring, regulatory work, compliance issues, cross border transactions, and so on. So, welcome, Sameena. So, like I said, let's start with something very basic, Naveen. Richard Susskind, I think the name is quite familiar to us and all our viewers, wrote a book in 1996, Future of Law. In that book, he made a prediction that lawyers would be communicating with their clients in future via emails. Something which we perhaps, I won't even say that we take for granted, but something back then was some revolutionary. Now, so far, so good. He just made the prediction. But let's consider the fallout for a moment. The Law Society of England and Wales came out with a statement that Richard Susskind should be banned from public speaking because he has brought the legal profession to disrepute. Now, I think we have come a long way from that. You and I started our legal career more or less at the same time. Maybe you a year before. Yeah. So, what do you think, Naveen, has been the trend? Do you see that legal landscape or the professional landscape has changed in all these years with the adoption of technology? Give us your general overview.
Thank you, Rajarshi. It seems to me that technology has been slow to impact the legal profession. When we talk about how technology has changed other service sectors, uh, we see that there's been significant disruption across the board. Uh, the way business was done 10 years, 20 years back is totally changed around in many sectors. Now, as far as law is concerned, the practice of law has pretty much remained the same. To your point about what we saw when Richard Susskind wrote the book and the reaction from the Law Society, I think we've been reluctant to allow change to happen, and we've stuck to our traditional ways of going about doing things. And That's really unfortunate that it's been that way. Or maybe there could be multiple reasons for that. Maybe technology hadn't evolved to the extent that it could make a significant impact on the legal profession. And it seems to me that maybe the time has come for technology to make the impact that the legal profession deserves, and for technology to change the way we deliver our services, just as much as it has impacted all the other service sectors.
So, what I take from what you said just now, Naveen, is that change is happening and it will probably just accelerate. Yes, of course, there is resistance, and I'll come to that resistance part a little later. But can you tell us what are the factors which are driving this change?
Which are driving the change. Let me say why change may not have happened and why it's likely that it will happen now. I think it hasn't happened because the practice of law has relied so much on precedent, and it is also there is a lot of judgment involved. It's not just about a mechanical series of things that can be replicated again and again. The application of legal principle to facts involve a subjective element in which cannot just be done uh, in a mechanical fashion. There is a human element that is involved, and that could be the reason that technology hadn't impacted the legal service industry as much as the others. Also, some of the traditional ways of doing the delivering the service has been so ingrained, and the industry has kind of held out in terms of allowing technology to impact it significantly. But what we are seeing with AI, at least, is our ability to do this in scale and to be able to, bring in multiple aspects of legal application, and then some of the problems that we had in the past with technology not being able to replicate human intellect is being surmounted by what AI is able to do uh, in terms of its ability to process large data.
So, Naveen, have you seen or have you used any AI tools or softwares which has helped you? And how do you think these AI tools are helping the legal services?
I think it's still early days in terms of getting the full benefit of AI tools from, in terms of what we need. But we are seeing some early signs. Our focus has been on contract management. So we have a contract management system which doesn't yet employ AI tools, but we've been evaluating various new products which have aspects of AI, and we can see that it can have make a big difference to us in terms of bringing efficiency, being able to harness the large precedent base that we have, just contracts that we have entered over the years, and being able to harness all of the learnings that we have from our past experience. Uh, so we're still working it, but I think that that's going to be one area of big impact. Less so for in-house legal departments, but more so for the
Law
practice of
firms,
law, the way
yes,
that
yes.
you work your beat. I think there could be significant, ways in which the way you work could be impacted by AI, both in terms of research, due diligence efforts, also litigation. I think a lot of the
Predictive analysis.
predictive analysis
Mm.
of way courts could possibly deal with the situation, jurisprudence evolution. I think there's a lot that AI will be doing in future.
Thank you. Thank you. This is helpful.
So, you mentioned about contract management and a couple of other things. So that leads me to this question because you are with traditional. You are not with a with a startup in that sense.
Yeah, true that.
Not a new age business, so to speak. You have worked with Reliance. You are with Mahindra. These are companies which have been around for many years. Even your other Crompton Greaves have been there for many years. Now, do you see that this whole sheer weight of legacy is actually a hindrance to the adoption of technology? Are there barriers internally? Is that what you feel? Or is our profession such that inherently we resist the change?
No, from a corporate standpoint, I think the fact that we have been around, the amount of data that we have in terms of our prior experience doing similar types of contracts and things like that, we have a larger database and we have the capital and the ability, as long as we have leadership who is willing to invest in new technology. I think it is better to be a legacy organization than a startup. Now,
Of course, yeah.
there may be legacy organizations which are resistant to change, but what we've seen with technology is that every company today is a technology company, irrespective of which sector you are.
Correct.
As in, if you're not in the forefront of technology, you will be left behind because you need tech, even if it's a service which is not, for example, if you take like a taxi service, we know that there is no great technology there. But now, if you are not there on a platform, you're not, as in, so it has become that technology is the driving force behind any successful business. So I think leadership in a lot of corporates are ready to invest in technology. Maybe it takes a little more convincing to sell the fact that technology can make a difference to a service, like a department, like a legal service function. But managements are much more amenable to that prospect today than it used to be in the past.
So, Naveen, though, as you said, that the legal departments in companies or probably law firms are not that receptive to change in technology, though the managements are very pro technology. Even having said that, there are a lot of legal tech startups that have come up with huge valuations running from $40 million to $50 million, and they are growing rapidly.
Right.
And also, there are alternate legal service providers. So, what is your thought on that?
No, I think that what we were saying that for the longest of time, legal industry has been untouched by technology.
Yeah.
Everybody senses that this is ripe for disruption, and
Correct.
this is the time for it to happen. And this is being perceived not just by the legal folks, but also by investors and everybody else who are watching this happen. And that just leads to support the whole theory that change is going to be happening. And even as customers of legal services, as clients, we can see that the way the profession is now evolving, the fact that there are these value-added legal service providers who are not the traditional law firm structure, it gives us opportunities to also find efficiency in outsourcing the legal work that we do. There are kinds of legal support that we need, which can be better done by, say, a legal service provider who may not be a mainstream law firm, and then we can get that done more efficiently, quicker, more cost effectively by these firms, and then get the more substantive parts of legal work done by competent traditional law firms.
Before you go to your next question, just on the point of valuation that Sameena mentioned, and Sameena, this is more a sort of a response to you. The valuation is through the roof because just this morning, while I was just penning down these questions, somebody in one of the groups shared a Twitter feed, and it says that there is a rumor that Sequoia Capital is looking to invest in Harvey. Harvey, as you know, is a big, it's a startup, AI startup. They're looking to invest $300 million, and the business is valued at $3 billion. So that's like big number. 2023, when Thomson Reuters acquired Case Text, was 650 odd million. But I think this is just going to go up, up, up. So that's one question that I have for you, but that's later. I think you wanted to ask something to Naveen.
So Naveen, though Raj mentioned that these valuations are going off the roof, and a lot of PE venture funds and all are investing in these. But in India, still the adoption of technology in the legal sphere is not as much as one would expect. What do you think are the limitations that is there for adoption of technology in legal services?
I think that one is the availability of legal talent at significantly lower cost than other jurisdictions. So we are reluctant to move to technology, which may mean a larger investment at the outset.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not convinced that legal technology solutions that are on offer now are of the caliber that we can
Rely on?
just switch.
Mm.
For example, we use different kinds of technology solutions. They have definitely helped us along the way, but they haven't made a sea change. And then as it really transformed the way we've worked, I'm not sure it has. So, like 10 years back, we were still working off Excel sheets in terms of our litigation management. For a corporate that is as large as us, we have like 2,500, 3,000 cases that we are litigating across different jurisdictions, different courts across the land. And we'd like to track and monitor the progress of litigation across. We moved to a software. We evolved over a period of time, but I still think there's a lot more that can be achieved by a litigation management tool, and that's where I think AI, with all those features that we spoke about, the value-added features that can be brought in, will help us manage litigation in a much more efficient manner. Similarly, we have a contract management system again, which I think can be a lot better adapted with new technology.
Sure. So actually, what you mentioned, that leads me to this question, which is more directed at Sameena. So, he mentioned about document management, litigation management, research, due diligence. So the question is that, are we as law firms future ready? Because there is a school of thought that this whole, you know, emphasis on AI and technology in law firm world is not being driven by us. We are being forced to do that thanks to clients such as Naveen, because they want quicker service, quicker turnaround, cheaper cost, and of course, efficiency at a higher level. So, what's your take on that, Sameena?
So, Raj, what I feel is though law firms and legal sector as a whole, at least in India, is not receptive to change. We find it very difficult. However, the pandemic taught us a lot. And in 2020, when the pandemic hit us, that was, I think, the first time when the most conservative companies also and conservative legal teams had no other option but to start using technology in their systems, in their work, on a normal, regular, day-to-day basis. Like simple things like signing a document. Earlier, and when I say pre-pandemic, we had huge conference rooms booked to have a closing done because 200 pages, 500 pages, we used to have the promoters, the deal makers sign each page. When the pandemic hit, and when we were doing transactions, Everyone had no other option but to use technology, use e-signing portals to get signatures done. Similarly, courts. Every time we had those huge papers, 4 or 5 different sets made to give it to the bench, to the other side, everything has now to be done in a very concise electronic mode. This means that inevitably every legal department has to use technology. Now, this is what has already been done. Even the smallest and the most conservative law firms, legal teams are using it. Going forward, CRM systems are being used, contract management systems are being used by the biggest companies, even the smallest ones. It has become so accessible, like, and at a very cheap cost. Like Zoho has an inbuilt CRM software, which is very cheap. So smaller companies are also now using it. Similarly, then when it comes to case law finding, we used to sit in libraries for hours with these huge books. We don't do that anymore. Manupatra, SEC Live have used AI inbuilt to have that so much more easily accessible. So also another thing is due diligence. It's when there is a huge set of documents that are provided to us. There are AI built search engines, softwares where you can put up the documents. They can make it a concise format. We as law firms have not started using AI softwares as much as I would love to have used, because one is it is still costly. As you said, that when it comes to having a associate or a senior associate versus buying an expensive software, so one would still have a cheaper resource doing it. Second is the data privacy part of it. Because whenever, and this has happened 2-3 times in the past, when we get a due diligence mandate or a transaction mandate, the company is asking us, are you using an AI software for the due diligence? And that is from the perspective of data security. How secure is the data going to be? Because with the law firm, they know they have signed NDAs, they have structures in place. What about if you are sharing this data on an AI platform? That's one reason, at least I feel a little hesitant. But having said that, I don't see that in the near future we are still going to be dependent on resources and will start moving to AI very soon.
You know, I read this interesting quote, which I think some industry leader had mentioned. I don't recall who. He said, being up to date is very difficult. Being obsolete is very easy. So I think while we may or may not have adopted to technology the way ideally we should have, but I think it is not a question of why, but it is a question of how soon now. And I recall one interesting anecdote. This was the time when the courts were still on virtual hearing mode. One of the prominent senior counsels in Mumbai, a very renowned senior, respected senior, he had a matter that same day before the SAT, the Securities Appellate Tribunal, and followed by a hearing before the Bombay High Court Division Bench, and then there was a SLP hearing. So on the same date, he was virtually present before these three forums, which in real world is an impossibility. He can't be present both in Mumbai and Delhi, but this was happening. So yes, you are right, Sameena. Technology taught us a lot. Pandemic taught us a lot in terms of how we adapt to technology. But having said that, let's move to something you touched upon, and I'll come to you, Naveen, but in a moment. So, what are the safeguards? You talked about data privacy. What else? What else do we ethically? Because see, ultimately, we lawyers are bound by our code of conduct, our legal ethics, and so on. So, do you see that there is not a dichotomy, but there is an apparent or inherent challenge in excessive use of AI and other similar tools?
I would say that I am more pro technology, and for me, the pros that technology gets with it is way more
Than the cons.
than the cons. So earlier, if there was a confidential document, it was very difficult for a client to use email to send it to us. simple as email. Today, all the work that we do is through email. Also, with this, there have been data safeguards that we are taking. Almost all law firms, and not only law firms, be it financial sector clients, be it manufacturing clients, everyone is doing that. With the new data privacy law that is coming in, the biggest target over there is to safeguard data. That is the main object of the data privacy law. Every company will invariably have to have data secured by whatever kind of data they have. Now, companies like us, law firms like us, will also have to have more stringent data privacy norms, more than what we have. So that would mean encrypting the data that we get from the client, tokenizing the data. Now, though we have not started using it, all law firms will be required going forward to do that because AI technology will become a part of the law firms and law firms and legal departments. Now, the other thing is it, as per the Oxford Economic Manual of which was as of February 2024, it is said that India is going to become the third biggest economy after US and China, a $10 trillion economy. All of that cannot be achieved if we are still behind as far as technology is concerned. So we will have no other option but to use more and more technology, to have more and more safeguards, to use blockchain mechanisms. We are having so many data centers being set up in India. The only reason for that is because they can see that India will have so much data to secure, to store in its own land. That's one of the biggest reasons why India is pegged at one of the fastest growing economies. And in 2027, which is very close to us now, it's going to be pegged as the biggest economy, third biggest economy in the world. So without technology, that cannot be possible. And with technology comes safeguards, which we will have to do.
So let me pose the same question to Naveen, but in a slightly different way. You have gone for an opinion to a reputed law firm. Would you be concerned if the opinion is written by ChatGPT?
I'm not sure I'd be concerned about ChatGPT being used, but I would definitely at this point want the opinion to have been reviewed by a senior partner who I was depending on for consideration of the question. Uh, Chat GPT, I'm not sure is can bring the element of uh, legal analysis that we would have expected from from going out to a law firm. It's and when we go out to a law firm, we are not going to the firm really. We are going to
The individual.
yeah, an individual or a team, and we recognize that there would be tools used by the individual or the team, of, but we wouldn't be able to accept the fact that it is not the individual or the team, but it is ChatGPT that has given us an opinion.
But on a more, I'll say, theoretical level, Naveen, are there concerns that you have about rather put differently, what are the guardrails of using the technology? While technology is an enabler, it's disruptive, yes, to the way we have been doing lawyering, but are there guardrails that need to be there? Sameena talked about, of course, the sanctity of data. And ultimately, we as lawyers, what do? We deal with data, a huge amount of data, analyze it, add our legal knowledge acumen to it, and come up with something that can be consumed by the stakeholders, this is relevant stakeholders. So, in that, data privacy is, of course, a big thing. But is there any other concern that you have over, say, what somebody may call excessive use of technology? Is there a concern?
No, I really don't think there's any reason for concern other than, of course, data privacy, the cyber security risk, as in we subjected to a lot of cyber breach kind of situations, and we wouldn't want that, especially with sensitive data of the sort that we would share with our lawyers.
Mm.
So we'd be very concerned from that data privilege, and as long as we have an assurance that you have proper safeguards in place to protect whatever is our proprietary data, we shouldn't be concerned about the overuse of data of technology tools.
Mm.
And as I said, as long as the technology tools was only an enabler and
Mm.
that there was human intervention and the primary content was being reviewed and finally endorsed by the humans who we have entrusted. Now, what are the other concerns that we may have? Now, the ethical questions are less about the practice of law
Mm.
and maybe on other issues.
Okay.
Where we have AI and technology touching aspects of our business, where,
Yeah.
for example, customer data, where we are running analytics on
Mm.
some of that kind of information that we have. We want to exercise control. We are looking at evolving a governance framework even in advance of regulation, so that we are ensuring that all that we are doing, even in the absence of regulation and law,
Yeah.
legal regime, is kosher, is and is not going to is not violating any basic rights of individuals who have entrusted their data with us. So all of that we are taking care to protect. Uh, I can't think of anything that, as a legal practitioner, you would be concerned for from an ethical standpoint. But I throw it back to you as to what you think could be ethical considerations in using technology for legal services.
So I think for me, the biggest issue would be from an ethical consideration, of course, is that we are actually applying our legal acumen and not leaving it to a machine and actually fulfilling your request as a client that I apply my mind or Sameena applies her mind and we do it with same degree of client confidentiality, sincerity, and whatever are the other parameters of good legal service that we have been doing in the traditional world. So long as that is safeguarded, that is ensured, it is in place. The other things that you mentioned about cybersecurity and threats to integrity, data integrity, ransomware, and all attacks and all of that. See, that we are already familiar with. In fact, many of our clients, particularly international clients who we act for, they want us to certify that the data, albeit on cloud or wherever it is, it's safeguarded. Uh, they require us at times to conduct penetration tests using ethical hackers and others. Uh, they need to know the kind of firewall and other safeguards that our IT team employs. So those things are, I would say, standard now. It's absolutely the norm. So there's nothing wrong with that. Ethics wise, I mean, I'll be more on the because ethics by itself, by design, is a construct of the old school thought. So long as what we know as ethical lawyering, as traditional lawyers, that continues in the world with tech, and there's no contradiction, it's okay. It's good to go. So I agree with you. There's no other concern, really speaking.
Another area that we see is copyright and infringement of intellectual property right. I don't believe that is as much an issue with use of technology in legal service as much as it is in the creative side.
Tend to agree there because the whole issue of IPR being violated by ChatGPT and other AI tools, it's on the point where it is the creative side of it if you're coming up with something in an artistic capacity or otherwise. Maybe a related part is the bias part of it because any kind of AI model is susceptible, prone to any kind of bias. So how do you eliminate that? But that's where I said I caveated my answer to you earlier that so long as there is proper application of mind by, like you said, the senior partner to whom you have gone, so long as that is happening, there should be a system to check that bit to say, how do you completely eliminate the bias? Perhaps it is not possible. But what can surely happen is use whatever tools you may, but ultimately, when it comes to the service delivery, so long as the lawyer concerned is applying his or her mind and doing justice to what the client has sought, I think it should be good.
To add to what Raju said, that with technology, all of these biases will be there. And one very good thing that will happen in the future, if not already that has happened, is you'll have very lean structures in law firms, in legal teams of companies, where you will have top senior management. With the help of these software technology tools and AI tools, you need not have a triangle structure anymore and have a T-shaped structure where you'll have the top heads and then with the help of technology a very lean team. So that way what will happen, everyone will be using technology. We probably can have a session again 2 years down the line and see that we're starting to use technology in the legal sphere, which in fact is the, I would say, the slowest one to adopt technology. All financial players are using technology. Yesterday I opened a bank account. I have not gone to the bank. I have not spoken to anyone. With just my Aadhaar verification was done online in seconds. I wouldn't even say minutes. Everything is become so seamless. I'm saying at the financial sector level, where there is maximum usage of data privacy required at their level. And so legal technology is going to come in and is going to play a very big role. Lawyers' work will become more streamlined, much more focused on only, there will be no redundant work that we used to do earlier. I used to read huge documents, prepare those short forms for the companies to have a due diligence report. All of that will be done by AI is what I feel. What we will come in is for opinion-based work, for anything where our legal acumen is required. So yes, I feel the legal sphere is going to change very fast.
So, we can go on and on, but I think we need to bring this discussion to a conclusion. Um, I will pose my last question to both of you. Before that, again, going back to Harvey. So, somebody said, in fact, the lady who had posted that Twitter update, it says that think of ChatGPT and Harvey. Harvey is the cousin of ChatGPT. ChatGPT knows a little bit of everything. Harvey is the one who went to law school. So Harvey can do many things which you and I and Sameena are doing currently. So I'll have you with the last word, but Sameena, to you, because what you said, streamline, T structure, I'm getting worried. Are we an endangered species?
We have to adopt. If you do not adopt technology, yes, you will be endangered. It could be a lawyer, it could be a law firm, it could be a legal team in a company. So, yes, we have to start using technology. Now, I'll use an example of Copilot. Copilot is something that I think most of us are using. It is now a part of Microsoft Teams. Earlier, when we used to have Teams call, we used to have a junior just to sit and take down the minutes and then circulate the minutes. We don't do that anymore. Now everything is being done by Copilot, and we can give it prompts that Raj mentioned this particular policy. Can you pull it out? It can go onto my Microsoft Outlook and pick out the policy that was there and give it to me. This means that the work that one lawyer was doing is not required anymore. It is done faster, more efficiently. Now, this is what AI is doing, this is what technology is doing in this small little example that I've given you. Similarly, with advent of Harvey, though I have not used Harvey, but we need something more specialized than ChatGPT. If you tell ChatGPT to draft the pleadings, you cannot rely on that. Because there has been a case where ChatGPT has made up certain case laws which never existed.
Yeah.
That's because ChatGPT never went to law school.
Exactly.
But I'm sure if there is a technology like Harvey coming in, it will be much more streamlined. You will have the first draft ready, which will be way better than what a junior lawyer would have prepared, and then you, as the partner, reviewing it. So now you'll have much better draft documents available to vet. That's what technology would do.
So seriously, some jobs are at risk.
Yes, that is there.
Naveen, what is your take? Lawyers becoming obsolete, endangered?
But I'd like to throw my mind back and from Rajarshi, I don't know so much Sameena, to a time when there used to be these people called stenographers.
Yes.
You know, now if you call being a stenographer as a profession,
Mhm.
it has ceased to exist.
Correct.
You won't find a stenographer now. You may find a rare one here or there, and I know that they are very difficult to get and they come at a significant cost. But you know, I don't think the legal profession or the lawyers are like stenographers. They do a variety of tasks. There are people like stenographers who help, in various aspects of the service delivery. So there are various kinds of that support which may become redundant. So if you are a lawyer who provides a particular kind of a support in the whole chain of the service delivery, your line of service may become redundant. So you need to be aware of that and be able to change or adapt to the situation. And it is a natural process. I don't think it's going to happen in a way that there are suddenly lots of people who will be jobless. It will happen in a way that people have enough opportunity to switch and find that something else which will create this, give them a sustenance. And it and we've seen that happen in so many ways in legal profession, whether it's, you refer to the way we used to do research and, stenographers and the way in which now courts have become virtual and I guess a lot of the support staff that were involved in organizing a court have had to change track, do other stuff. So there will be change, but I don't think legal profession is at risk at all.
So, to add to what Naveen said, not only the courts, but our authorities. Today, SEBI is become so tech savvy that we need to learn from the authorities. I have seen notices received from MCA with so much detail as though they have done investigations which have gone for like months and years, but they have provided that only by using technology.
Yeah.
So that kind of investigation process is what SEBI is using, what MCA is using, now income tax is using, is possible because of technology. If our authorities are using technology, we will have to use that. And they are not only using technology for investigation purposes, they are using for their drafting, they are using for data collection, for data analysis, data management. And that's what technology is doing.
Very true. And I think both of you have summed it up very nicely. I mean, it's like this. I think going forward, Naveen, my sense is the issue is not that some lawyers would become redundant. I would seriously agree with you that ours is a profession where I don't think there will be ever a machine or a bot which will replace us in its entirety. But the future is lawyers who have adapted to technology and the lawyers who haven't. That's the point of uh, concern that might be there for certain people in the whole chain. But yes, we will not become redundant. It's a question of how fast, how soon we can adapt. Like Sameena mentioned about the authorities, they have taken to technology in a big, big way. So there is no reason why legal professionals, be it in house or be it in the law firms, should be adapting to technology. And in fact, the law firm world, because ultimately we are in the service sector, so we have to give or we have to cater to what our clients' requirements are because as in-house lawyers, you have your own budget, you have your own targets to meet, and so on and so forth, which we are very familiar with. And more, what we are hearing is that the clients are demanding, and rightly so, same level of efficiency, if not greater, but at a reduced cost and lower turnaround time. So the only way I can deliver that consistently and with quality being ensured is to have the right kind of technology at my disposal, at our team's disposal. And that's the effort, that's the objective, even as we speak. So that's the way forward. Thank you both for joining this, and it was great having you. And we look forward to having more such sessions in future. Like Sameena said, maybe 2 years down the line, I would probably say 1 year down the line. Technology is a very fast moving phase, and maybe 1 year down the line, we have a repeat session with Naveen once again. Thank you.